Remember, everything here is alleged and, in my opinion, and for entertainment purposes only. Lego. What up, what up, what up, dudes? So we are here to recap the second episode of Keke Wyatt's World. Okay, if you are not watching the show, then you of course are gonna get your fair recap right here on the channel. All right. But please, 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 before we get into any of that, you guys know the drill. Make sure that you like and subscribe to the channel so that you don't miss anything that we do have coming up. You won't miss any of these recaps and short form recaps. All right. With that being said, hit that like button, subscribe, and let's get into the things of the things of the thing. Let go. All right, let's get into the episode, child. All right, so this episode starts off with where we started off, or where we left off last week, right? We left off with Andre coming to talk to Keke about the 25 days that they have not been talking, right? And in my opinion, again, in this scene, we see that both of their feelings is hurt in regards to what's going on. We kind of learned that Keke shuts down instead of probably trying to communicate. And I think what Andre is trying to get Keke to understand is the fact that with her not communicating, it makes it super hard to know exactly what she wants, considering that he does pretty much everything for her. He's not just her manager, but he does everything for her. So I can kind of understand where both of them are coming from in this, but Keke is giving me stubborn. All right. They do come to an agreement in which they can kind of understand each other. They hug this thing out. Keke gets super emotional about the situation. And like I said, I feel like she's stubborn, but I also feel like I knew where Andre was coming from, but then I also knew where Keke was coming from as well. All right. Like, you guys have built this great bond. You want everything to work out with each other. So I totally get how she feels about the situation. However, I don't think she quite handled that well, because when you have someone like that, you guys have a very close connection. You probably want to keep, you know, that stuff surface. And I know she's going through a lot. She has 11 children. Now, Keke says that it's not hard to have 11 children, but honey, I don't know. I don't know how it's not hard to have 11 children, because you can't focus on everybody, because you're just one person. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know how I feel about that, but I mean, she says it's not hard. All right. Now they have a conversation about, well, Keke has a conversation with the children about how they kind of ignored her, and was being shady when she announced her album, right? So their thing is, again, like I said in the last review that I did last week in regards to Keke Wyatt's World, is the fact that the kids stated that they wanted a mix of music, because they stated, the young people take over the older people. You know what I'm saying? This is what they're saying as children, which I can see that, because young people are taking over. But they're saying have a mix of the old school mixed with the new school. You know what I'm saying? Kind of how we want our music to match right now. You know what I'm saying? So that's basically what the kids are telling her that they want her to do. All right. Now she's trying to get her son's attention. This is the 12-year-old son. She's trying to get his attention, and he has on some headphones because he ain't really trying to talk, right? And the girls in their confessional says to be a part of this family, you have to be tough. Now he walks out of the room because he feels some type of way about the little sniggling and the little side remarks that they have. But he also feels like Keke is responsible for a lot of that stuff that they do to him, right? So Keke leaves and she goes to have a conversation with him. And in this conversation, he kind of lets her know how he feels. And he's saying that he feels alone. He basically lets us know that he's pretty, he's a pretty sensitive guy, and he just wants them to be treated right. You know what I'm saying? But the thing is here where I disagree with Keke is the fact that Keke, he told you that he didn't want you to tell his father. Now, clearly, his biological father is not in his life. And the stepfather is, of course, Kiki's current husband. But the thing is he's basically saying that he doesn't want to have this conversation with him because Keke breaks down in the conversation and he was like, I didn't want it to be like this. You know what I'm saying? I didn't want to tell you, and this is the way that you feel. And Keke wants him to know that he has to talk to somebody. I think I knew where Keke was coming from as a mother, but he stated that he wasn't comfortable having this conversation with his, stepfather. So I felt like her forcing that on him wasn't probably the best idea. But I'm also glad that eventually they did end up having the conversation, and we'll get into that in just a little bit. But I wasn't really here for that part of it, but I kind of understand again, and I try to look at this in the lens of I don't have children, right? And we're only seeing what's going on while the cameras are there. Now, they end up having this conversation, and Keke, leaves with letting him know that he has to be comfortable with talking to somebody. But I can see why he's probably not comfortable talking to his siblings, especially if he's feeling some type of way about how his siblings is treating him, right? But then he also states, Keke has something to do with it. It's like she kind of amplifies the situation a little bit as well. And again, this is where I feel like you don't have enough time to support both children. And I feel like it's nothing wrong with stating that you don't have that I'm not saying that I'm just saying there's nothing wrong with saying that you can't cater to everyone's needs at all moments in time because you also still have a infant that is sickly, and we'll get into a little bit of that as well. All right. Now Keke is going to rehearsal. Andre lets the band and the rehearsal know because she has a show down to the city winery, and he lets them know that this is probably not going to be like a normal rehearsal because she has the baby with her, right? And there was a time where she was in the studio and she's rehearsing. She comes in, she's hoarse, and she's like, "Y'all pray for me because I'm hoarse." But she also has the baby at the time, and while they're sitting there, she's just she's singing. I mean, she was doing some good singing. You know what I'm saying? So anyway, moving on, they end up having the show down to the city winery, and she has a really good show down to the city winery, and she brings out the kids, and mind you, she wasn't hoarse anymore. Really, she really blew the socks off that little performance that I had saw, right? So she brings out the kids on the stage. She makes them a part of her show, which I think is super super dope, right? Because no one should feel left out or anything like that, and I think that that's amazing, right? So she brings them out, and then they go to the back, and while they're in the back, unfortunately, like the baby skips like breathing a little bit, and she's like, "Breathe, baby." And so she lets us know that he has trouble breathing sometime. But we get back, to the house. It's like, and the 12-year-old stepfather has a conversation with him about what exactly he told Keke as far as his feelings go, and he pretty much says that he feels, this type of way, and he's hoping that there could be some change, right? And you can tell that the 12-year-old doesn't want to inconvenience anyone or doesn't want anyone to feel any certain type of way because he feels a certain type of way. So they all come to the conclusion that they will try to do better in regards to this. We've moved on with some time, and the baby ends up, we find out from Keke. It's very, very sad that the baby ends up dying in her arms. I think she said for 18 minutes. And I can only imagine what that feels like and how scared Keke was, how scared the kids are in regards to that. She did also state that the doctor told her, that the baby wasn't going to have the best, life, with all of the illnesses. But Keke is determined, and she states that she's going to do all that she has to do to make sure that her angel is great, because she feels like if he wasn't supposed to be here, he wouldn't be here. And so I can't tell anyone how to feel, and in that moment I just want what's best for the baby, and I also want what's best for Kiki's health as well, her health and her mental health, because I can only imagine how hard it is to have to go through this with your baby, because that's rough when you don't have or when you're trying to, can't, the name of the episode, have a work life balance, and you can't really have one when you're trying to take care of the 11 children, and then but the baby is not doing well. So of course we got the scene with the ambulance where they came and got him, and it was just a sad thing to see. I didn't like to see that. So we getting to see the insides of Kiki's life and what it means to be a artist, a mother of 11, a wife, and all of these things. And I think that one thing that I am quite sure is just the toughest part is the baby. You know what I'm saying? And I did see the husband. Now I will go back and say this. I'll try to be a real one, right? I mentioned that in the last episode that the husband kind of gave off standoffish vibes, like he wasn't really um like hands on with the baby as I think that he should have been. That way it would help Keke. I saw that he was a little bit more in this episode. I did see that. So I do find that interesting. Like I can't wait to see what's going to come in this season. All right. But this is pretty much all for episode 2. And I'm gonna keep on watching and keep on bringing y'all reviews, because I do know that there are some people who can't quite get in the show, but they do like the reviews. And so I promised that I would bring these reviews to you, and this is exactly what I wanted to do. All right. So I appreciate you all for tuning in. If you like this, make sure you hit that like button, make sure you subscribe, and make sure you bang that notification bell so you don't miss any time that I go live, child, or drop a video. So let me know how you guys feel about this particular episode down in the comment section below. Make sure that you kind of leave your comments as respectful as possible. I appreciate you guys for tuning into this second short recap and review for Keke Wyatt's World episode 2, work-life balance, child. And I see how hard and how tough it is for her to do so. All right. Again, make sure you hit that like button, subscribe, and I will catch you guys in the next video. And thank you so very much for watching. Bye.